Happy June. Let's sit back and just chill. I'm going to take my time today and talk to you about everything I watched in May. If you are new here, I feel like I have to explain a little bit. I am a person who didn't really watch stuff until the last few years. So I've been exploring. New watches are very important for me. First time watches are very important. I'm trying out a lot of stuff within the realms of like horror, exploitation, Eurocult, and just general trash, you see. So if that sounds good to you, hang out. Boy, has my life gotten better since summer started. I work at a school, so I still have to work during the summer, but now the kids aren't there. Thank God. Anyway, so I got a lot of movies under my belt this month. First off, I watched Vamp from 1986. This is about these two frat guys who grab a friend and they drive to the nearest city because they're trying to find a stripper to make their frat house more interesting or something. And so they go to this strip club, but little do they know it is a vampire strip club. So yeah, they're asking for trouble. Now this film is well known because it stars Grace Jones as the head vampire. Woo, and she does an awesome job. This is a good movie, I think. It would not be like a favorite. I mean, I'd probably watch it again though. It's one of those movies where I'm like, dang, if I had watched this as a child, I would have been just terrified. The vampires are pretty scary, but there's also a lot of comedy incorporated into the film in spots. I mean, it does have its weaknesses. You can check out my Letterboxd review if you want to hear even more of my thoughts. But the things that really stand out are, of course, Grace Jones. Also, the colored lights. I love me some colored lights. If it's a colorful movie, it probably stands a chance of getting a passing grade from me. So lots of beautiful 80s neon cityscape at night. It's beautiful. It was a fun movie. Next, I took a recommendation from my pal Crime for a Dime here on YouTube. He recommended a Czech film to me named Morgiana from 1972. I've seen two other Czech films. I've seen Valerie and Her Week of Wonders, and I have seen Daisies, and I love them both. So I was down. I was down for some more. Morgiana, how do I even explain it? It's pretty weird. It's a visual feast for the eyes. It is a story of two sisters. There's a good sister and a bad sister. Basically, the bad sister decides she's going to poison the good sister, and the film kind of follows that decision. It's kind of a slow movie, but it's really, really beautiful. I don't know. I think it's definitely worth a look, especially if you are interested in Czech films or if you have seen some and you like them. The acting was really good. Costumes were really good. Setting is beautiful. Makeup is awesome. I should have tried one of the makeup looks for this video. Next up, I watched Daddy's Perfect Little Girl from 2021. This is a Lifetime movie or something like that. And, God. It's about this little girl. She's being raised by her single dad, and she's like super duper protective of him. So anyone who like gets in between them, she will kill them. So it was pretty good, I guess. But you know how these made for TV, like Lifetime thrillers are, like, they don't quite get as graphic. And as I've noticed with a lot of Lifetime movies lately, like the messaging, like what is the message? What lesson are you teaching us? I guess there is no lesson. I don't know, I guess I keep expecting cautionary tales from Lifetime and I'm not really getting that from them these days. I thought it was pretty fun though because some of the acting was really bad. As I put in my review, some of these people seem like they're being forced to act at gunpoint. And I'm like, Lifetime, you're always like, oh, we aren't accepting scripts, or oh, we don't need any actors. Like, Well, it kind of seems like you're forcing people to participate when literally I would do it for free. Hit me up Lifetime. Next was Horror in the High Desert from 2021. I just did a full review on this movie, so if you want to know more, you can check that out. But this is a mockumentary with a little bit of found footage documenting the circumstances leading up to a young hiker's disappearance. I say young, he's like 32. Is that young? I enjoyed the movie. Don't really like mockumentaries, so it felt kind of weird to be absorbing all this information that's not even actually real information. But the film did freaking scare me at the end, and I am going to continue on and watch the sequel hopefully soon. Next up in our Italian cinema Discord, well, I guess this is Spanish, isn't it? We watched Blue Eyes of the Broken Doll from 1974, aka The House of Psychotic Women. I kind of like that title better. This is a Giallo starring Paul Naschy. Paul plays a drifter who takes a job as a handyman at a house occupied by 3 beautiful women. And pretty soon there's a killer running around killing people with blue eyes. I thought it was a fun movie. It was a pretty solid Giallo. Good to finally see it. Pretty sleazy, pretty goofy, and it was fun to watch with a group. Next was my watch party pick, and I picked Madeline's Study of a Nightmare. This is from 1974. This is a rewatch for me, so I won't go into it again, but it's weird. That's a weird movie. Next, I rewatched Delirium Photo of Joya from 1987. This is a favorite of mine and a highly rewatchable film for me. Love it every time. I watched Late Night with the Devil from 2023. I also did a full review on this movie. This has been fun. It's been fun to be a part of this discourse and enjoying and analyzing this film, especially because it is based in the 70s. So as a 70s lover, as I said in my review title, it was fun to check this one out. This was kind of a found footage, but the found footage is an episode of a late night talk show. It was a Halloween special, and it was all like paranormal themed guests coming on. And things go terribly, terribly wrong. I enjoyed this. I'm glad that I watched it, and it's very memorable. And the more and more time I've had to sit with it, I think I would watch it again probably. I watched Pearl from 2022. I also did a review on this. This is the prequel to X. It is exploring the story of a farm girl in the early 1900s who wants to be a famous dancer / movie star and will do anything to get there. Like I said in my thumbnail of that review, it's exactly what you think it is. Watch the trailer, you've seen the movie. I didn't really like it that much. And next, speaking of movies I don't really like, in Discord, I rewatched, a lot of people, it was first time watch, The Washing Machine from 1993. You may know that I freaking hated this movie and listed it in my top most hated Giallo movies. But I know, like, a girl can change your mind. And I did watch The Washing Machine very, very early in my Giallo journey. So I was like, maybe it's good. Maybe I just need to watch it again. Bitch, it was not good. I hated it. I hated it still. But it was kind of fun watching on the Discord. I guess we like trauma bonded or something, because everyone was like, wow, that was not good. They're like, wow, I wish I didn't watch that. So that was kind of funny, but it is good to know that in some cases, my first impressions, like, they are accurate. My woman's intuition was telling me this movie is terrible. And it is. Oh, I'm supposed to call out Tony for picking this movie and torturing all of us. Okay, so next, I watched The Seducers from 1968, aka Top Sensation. This is a rewatch for me, but I did just purchase it on DVD because I can't stop listening to the soundtrack. I'm kind of like, I can't really stop thinking about the movie, but even watching it again, I have to acknowledge it's not really a good movie. So I have no excuse, but I still like it. So it was fun to watch, but it's just really not good. But I love the cast of Edwige and Rosalba and the goat. It's all just one of a kind. Okay, so my poor husband, he does not get to pick the movie a lot, but I let him pick one. And we watched Roadhouse from 1989 because I've never seen it. And we kind of want to watch the new one, but I had to see the old one. And it's really about freaking time because I've listened to Peter Griffin quote Roadhouse for 17 years and haven't watched the movie. And surprisingly, I had a lot of feedback. I had a lot of thoughts and things to say about this movie. I really loved the character of Dalton and that whole like Zen philosopher thing he had going on. And just this idea that he's basically a mercenary bouncer. And I loved the bar culture that they portrayed in the film. I think it was a really great setup. It just had some wisdom bombs and it was just like very, very cleverly written. And then the film shifted. It shifted to just focus on this random bad guy and his group of random goons. I do not care about this bad guy named Brad. He was so boring. He was boring looking. Like, I don't know, there was just no pizzazz. Like, when we pulled in to Double Deuce, I was like, oh, naturally he's gonna have some trouble in the town. But I thought his trouble would be like with a biker gang or something. Not an aristocrat across the lake. That is so boring. And I'm reading this book called Party of One, The Loner's Manifesto. And it's quite fascinating because it does talk a little bit about how the loner archetype is portrayed in cinema. It started off like in the days of film noir and westerns, the loner was exalted. But then as we got later on into more recent decades, the loner is seen as a problem, a psychopath, a nuisance. At the beginning of the movie, he is this loner character, very zen, very cool and calm. But at the end, he ends up breaking mentally and then assimilating with the community. And then that's supposed to be the better version of him. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, is like they're breaking the lonerism out of him. I just don't like that. Why can't we just leave him mysterious? I don't want to ramble on forever, but I could go on about the movie. I was disappointed in the ultimate trajectory, but I loved the setup. I watched Alice, Sweet Alice from 1976. Sabrina sent this to me on DVD and it took me a long time to watch it, but I've heard about it a lot over the years and I know people really love it. But I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I can't tell you why, okay? It was just not fun. And it wasn't cute. It was very grimy. It reminded me of Matilda. It was just me. It was shot like a comedy, but it wasn't funny. It's just really weird. I just didn't like the look. I didn't like the vibe, the feel. It just wasn't for me. I thought it was very unstructured, chaotic. I did not like any of the characters. I guess, I don't know, maybe I should do a whole video on Alice, Sweet Alice, because this is, I think people either love it or hate it. So it is very interesting for a topic of conversation. I'm sorry, Sabrina. I appreciate you and thank you for sending to me and I'm sorry. Next I watched the Dunwich Horror from 1970 because Brian sent this to me on DVD. Oh, I'm forgetting to tell you what each movie is about. I'm trying to be more organized with these things. Anyway, this is based on Lovecraft's story, except not freaking really. I think I have seen this movie before. I have been interested in Lovecraft since high school, so I'm pretty sure I found this at a video store. because it was like way too familiar. I'm like 75% sure that's how I've seen this movie before, is by renting it, because I do remember trying out some Lovecraft adaptations a long time ago and realizing like, oh, like nobody has actually successfully adapted Lovecraft into a movie. That's probably not accurate, but that was my impression at the time. So I liked the movie. If you just like forget about the original story and don't compare the two, I liked it. I thought it was kind of slow, but it was just nice, you know? Nice 70s occult exploitation. Oh, by the way, Dunwich is like my favorite Lovecraft story that I've read so far. I haven't read all of his stuff, but that was always the standout. Oh my gosh, I put in my review, I was like, the story is pretty slow, but honestly, after watching Alice Sweet Alice the day before, I was just, well, glad I wasn't watching Alice Sweet Alice. Next, I watched, because it came in a pack with the Dunwich Horror, I watched Die Monster Die from 1965, which was like the worst possible title for this movie, because this is a movie loosely based off of Lovecraft's Color Out of Space. Die Monster Die has nothing to do with anything, but okay. I liked the movie, and I'm not opposed to what they did with the original story and how they changed it, because this, obviously the original story of a colorful element falling out of space, you can do so much with it. So it was interesting to see them take it in a slightly different direction. Oh, and we have Boris Karloff in this movie. And what's that other guy's name? Nick Adams. They're great. This girl in this movie though, she almost ruined it. Just really, really, really annoying. But I enjoyed Die Monster Die. You know, I rated it higher than Dunwich, but I might have to reassess one day. I watched Tetsuo the Iron Man from 1989. I know. How did I end up over there? Well, my friend Matt sent me. As if it was some sort of a challenge. This, I described it as a metal-infused, sweaty carnival of insanity. God, here I find myself speechless. There was definitely a lot of effort put into this movie for it to not really have a story. I don't know, man. Basically, all you need to know, if you haven't seen this movie, just look up a picture of Tetsuo the Iron Man and you'll see some imagery, and that's really what you need to take away. The imagery is, I don't want to say beautiful, but it's very elaborate and interesting. And that was a weird movie. Oh yeah, some body horror elements and stuff that were like quite painful. It looked great, but it was like, you did a lot. You did the most to make something so weird. But I also said that I'm glad that some people do have the resources and the time and the energy to explore such weird ideas for the hell of it. I watched Vampiros Lesbos from 1971. This is a vampire movie. Okay, I did a review on this. And I also read someone's review that described it as trope inversion. So it's not your typical sort of vampire situation. It's like sunshiny seaside vampires that don't have fangs. But it was an experience, and it's definitely worth it for Soledad Miranda. In Discord, we watched Eyeball from 1975, which I have already seen. But it's a good one. It's a classic. You can't really go wrong. I finally got my husband to watch Scanners from 1981. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna love it. He's gonna love it. And then like the opening credits and stuff, I'm like, I almost want to cry because I just love this so much. I'm so excited. And he didn't really have anything to say about it. He said it reminded him of The Matrix a lot. And he said it was good. And that's it. I guess that's why some of us review movies and some of us don't, huh? I watched The Case of the Bloody Iris from 1972, because in case you missed it, the new 4K Blu-ray set came out for Celluloid Dreams, so I got my copy and I watched it, and it's wonderful. I watched a movie called Sick Girl from 2006, because Brian sent it to me. I feel like I should probably do a full-length review on this as well, but I gotta keep this brief. It was charming. It was extremely well written and well acted. I was surprised. However, it's a very short movie, and not only is the runtime cut off, the ending just cuts the story off. It really felt like we were about 2/3 through, and then they were like, hey, we gotta wrap this up. Let's just like write up an ending real quick. Just end it wherever you're at. Like, that's what it felt like. So that was kind of jarring and disappointing, but I think it's a good movie. If y'all have seen Sick Girl, let's talk. This is by the same guy who did May, which I have not seen yet, but Sick Girl, I haven't been telling you what it is about. Hold on. Sick Girl is like a lesbian love story, but then we get like some bug horror and some body horror mixed in there, and like it's really good. I think it's really good, but it just felt like half of a movie. Next, I watched One Missed Call from 2008. And if you saw my Letterboxd review, you already know how I feel. I guess I understand now why no one ever talks about this movie. Because it was terrible. I understand it as a remake. I haven't seen the original, but like, bruh. Who let that happen? That was not good. I don't even know what to say besides just to tell you it's not freaking good, okay? The 2000s, they were really struggling because it's like horror was trying to find itself and it just didn't know which direction to go. And you could definitely see this. It's like floating in this stage of just being plain old lost. We, in the Discord, watched Shock from 1977, Mario Bava's Shock, which I've done a full review on because I love that movie and that was a fun watch. And then finally, I wrapped up the month with Lovely, Dark and Deep from 2023, which I have just made a review on. I liked it a lot. This is a horror movie set in the woods about a park ranger stationed in backcountry, and it's really great. I don't want to tell you anything about it until you see it. So after you see it, you should go watch my review. That's probably gonna be a long video. I was trying to be calm and collected and organized, but I still feel like I started going all over the place. But I don't know, when the camera's on and the lights are on, I just kind of black out. So I had a good month. And for those of you who missed it, I did my very first live stream the other day. And it was like so much fun. I just wanted to do one this weekend too. Like, I just want to start doing it all the time, but I don't want to do too much, you know? Anyway, so in this live stream, I let you guys build my watch list for me. I thought I might get 10, 15 films. No, I have a big ass list now. So that's gonna be my plans for June, is trying to tackle all these films that you guys have requested in the live stream, okay? If you weren't there, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna figure out, I may not do what I watched in June if I can't watch the whole list yet. So anyway, we'll see. I'm transitioning now into you guys are picking what I'm watching, and I will report back to you soon. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you have a great June. And I will see you next time. Ciao.